Started my career with big corporates. I worked with HSBC Bank, I worked with Standard Chartered Bank, I was into corporate lending. Then I moved to a private equity fund. I worked for we used to fund, I worked for a venture capital fund rather, And then something happened in my life, something really motivated me, and I, by default, became a social entrepreneur. Okay, that's why everybody is, oh, you left your HSBC bank and you are actually doing something. So I'm in the same position like what you said, leaving all the luxuries and then traveling by buses and autos and stuff like that, But trust me, the feeling that you get at the end of the day is nothing compared to what you will get when you're working 9 to 5 for somebody else. Okay, actually you're working for yourself because you get the salary at the end of the day. So since afternoon we are hearing about business, money, investments, marketing, scalability, strategy, P&L, business plan. So what is different in a social business? Honestly, there is no difference. You will hear the same terms in a social business also. Yeah, there are few differences which we will discuss. But first of all, I would like to play one very interesting video, that will give you a little insight on what social business is, and what is the most driving factor in it.
What if through the simple act of giving, you could achieve a life of significance? What would that look like to you? More family time? Living debt-free? Or making a living by making a difference? How about enriching the lives of others, including those you care most about? What if you could achieve all of this and at the same time help to fight the #1 health risk that children face in the world today? A recent article exposed that up to 1/2 of all childhood deaths in the world are related to malnutrition. And we've discovered the most advanced solution for helping to fight this problem. And now, through an innovative new pay-it-forward business model called social entrepreneurship, you can help us change the world through the simple act of giving. Social entrepreneurship, rewarding ordinary people for making an extraordinary impact on the world. Anyone, regardless of their age, education, or experience, can become a social entrepreneur. Old models of business required you to be good at selling, training, and marketing to succeed. But in this new model, success can come through the simple act of giving. Why? Because giving changes everything. And the best part is, what you give away costs you nothing. That's right, it's free to give. So now it's up to you. Simply choose to give and become a part of a world-changing movement. Because if you haven't figured it out by now, giving changes everything.
So how many people believe giving changes everything? I'm glad. Thank you so much. I'm happy. I thought it will be a difficult subject for me to get across to newer generation because I thought money is the most driving factor for everybody, be it in a job or in a business, where everybody wants to take a comfortable salary home or have a huge profit margin, talk about only revenue. So it's not that when you give, you don't get anything in return. In fact, I think when you give, you only get things back. And like Mr. Joshi said, if I invest, I need 10 times, of what I invest. Trust me, when you give, you get multiple times back. I have experienced this personally. That's why I'm very proud to say that initially when I started, I felt, what am I doing? A lot of time they were like self-doubt. Because it's not you're doubting, it's the circumstances. People are putting it in your mind. Are you crazy? You have left your HSBC job to do this? Are these your children? Are they your family's relative children that you're doing things for them? So there was time when I was little wavering. Oh, what am I doing? Am I really mad? But this whole thing can actually create a massive movement in the society, massive movement in your own life. You're not the same person what you used to be 5 years back, 10 years back. You become you transform yourself, and that's what happens when you give, and it changes the whole perspective of your life in terms of how you look at profit, how you look at money, how you look at your friends, how you look at your family. Your whole life changes, and changes for good, not for bad. So don't listen to people when you start something. That goes for not only starting a social business, it also goes for normal business, like he said. Never give up and listen to your heart. Trust me, just listen to your heart. And I think that one quality which I would recommend everybody, that if you have any gut feeling, just go by it. Listen to your heart. Don't listen to a third party. Don't listen to that auntie, that neighbor auntie. Great. You know, that's how it is, you know. So about social business is nothing but doing good to other people, doing good to the planet, and getting the whole impact, you know, changing the whole perspective, and you know, changing life of people, you know, creating that great movement, you know, and yet at the same time being financially secure for yourself also. So that's the subject today. So I have made a small presentation where it's not so where we will just discuss the basics of social entrepreneurship in terms of terminologies and what does it mean, because the entire business lies in what it means. Okay. So I'm sure you must have heard about something like what social entrepreneurship is all about. You know, there are two kinds of business that we know in humanity. One is business that is to make profits, to make money, and the other kind of business is to change people's life, you know, to do something good for another person, to bring a change in the society, to bring a change in our culture, to bring change in the planet, to create an environment, you know. So that's what is social entrepreneurship all about. And why entrepreneurship is added to it? Because you are using your entrepreneurship skill to actually solve a problem of the society. So you're creating a movement. Why I'm using the word movement? Because you see what has happened today. You people are a part of that movement. You know, the funds that is sitting here has not started because they wanted to start a fund, because they saw there's a huge movement of startups, you know. So that's why they are sitting here. They're not sitting there for themselves. They saw that what the opportunities that they were missed out on. You know, imagine they had invested in companies like Facebook or Google or something like that, or any other social business. We'll share some examples also, where everybody were rejected. So for them also, you people are the motivating factor to start a fund, you know. So social entrepreneurs is, in very, very simple terms, is, you know, you have the passion, you pick up a social mission, you use your business-like discipline, you add innovation to it, you have a strong determination, and you make difference in the lives of other people. So that's, in definition-wise, that's what social entrepreneurship is all about. You feel free to ask me in between, then, you know, we will be with the flow. So I don't mind answering any questions that you have while I'm talking. So this is also, and let me tell you, it's not something new, okay, social business or social entrepreneurship. It existed even 50 years back. It existed even 30 years back. I'll share one very good example of a person who started this almost 40 years back. By default, I think I was a social entrepreneur. It's just that now I've discovered, okay, this is called social entrepreneurship. I've always been doing that. You know, it just today we call startup. Do you think startup never existed before? Of course it did. It's just that we have discovered it right now. You know, there is more awareness. You know, I never addressed, we have also been to colleges, we have also been to school, but nobody came to our colleges like that and talked about, do you want to become an entrepreneur? You know, we were only motivated like, you know, you have to get yourself a job, you have to complete your graduation, you have to do MBA, and then, you know, you're going to go for your internship and stuff like that. Today, the whole scenario of education has changed. You know, so social entrepreneurship, social enterprise existed even that time. Okay? Because it's simple, it's just designed to serve a purpose that will bring a huge development in social, environmental, economical, and cultural scenario. So, a company, you know, which has an objective or a purpose to create an impact in the society is called a social enterprise. So you can actually start a social enterprise. I think he gave some wonderful examples in the end, you know, that falls under social business actually, you know. So we'll discuss that also, you know. So it's an enterprise, so you actually can start a social enterprise and pick up a nice, beautiful purpose. He gave you 3 good ideas, food for thought, you know, and we can think about making a business plan in that, you know, and then see how that business can motivate others, motivate yourself, you know, bring about a change in the society, and get some, you know, financial freedom also for you, you know. So social enterprise can be for profit and not for profit, and also public sectors. Okay, so we'll discuss that. I don't want to get into the technology part, the technical part of it, how you can structure a company and everything. That's the second part. Right now, because it's a basic conversation, so we'll just talk about basics of social entrepreneurship. And then I'll talk about my foundation also later. So we talked about social entrepreneurship, social enterprise, impact enterprise, and then who's the person who runs that enterprise? What is he called? A social entrepreneur, a person who runs that enterprise. And why is he called again a social entrepreneur? Because he has the skill of an entrepreneur, he has that innovation, you know, he has that, he wants to think globally, he wants to scale up, okay, he knows how to market his product, he knows, you know, what's going to bring about change, and that's how he becomes a social entrepreneur. As simple as that. And of course, at the end of the day, he has to survive. Money, I'm not saying money is not important, money is extremely important, okay, so you also make money for yourself. And in social entrepreneurship, you will also find people with different thinking process, different pattern of thinking. One completely says, I do not want to make money at all. Okay, so there are those highly driven people. Okay, and again, I think that other part where, you know, I want to be a social entrepreneur, at the same time I also want to bring financial freedom for myself, but in that only money should not be my motivating criteria. It should be the mission, it should be the purpose, you know, the driving force should be the objective, what changes I want to bring in the society. So now we spoke to 4 different people from different business, you know, where, so in a social business, the element of a business model has the same element what the other business has. You know, you need capital. Capital could be in the form of a loan, it could be in the form of a donation, a grant, or some impact investor. You know, or it could be we also use words like bootstrapping. Currently I'm bootstrapping, I'm using my own money. You know, I haven't got any impact investor so far, and I don't want also, honestly speaking. Why I don't want, I'll talk about it later. You know, so it's not that in a social business, it's just about charity. It is about charity, but charity with an innovation. Okay, so we do have words like elements like capital. There is a product, there is a service. You have to have a mission, you have to have a vision. You need to have a team. And again, as everybody talked since morning, team means somebody who can deliver the objective. You can't just start a social venture, you can't just be a social entrepreneur, you can't just have a purpose and not have that ability to deliver, you know. Who are your customers? You need to have a customer also, somebody who will, a beneficiary, what we usually call, somebody who will be benefited out of the services or the products that you're manufacturing, you know. Of course, you need sales, marketing. How are you going to market that concept? How are you going to do that? You know, how are you going to go to the villages? How are you going to go to a restaurant and say, okay, please give me the leftover foods, you know. So it's not easy to get the waste, those foods also. I think I saw that serial in Satyamev Jayate. You know, you saw it. It's mafia driven. It's not so easy. Every business, everything has challenges. You know. So sustainability. Of course, a social business, if it doesn't get enough donation, if it doesn't get enough cash flow, it cannot sustain. And just not about the money. It's about if the team cannot deliver, it cannot sustain. So it's not that a social business is apne aap chalega. No, you need to have some kind of revenue, you need to have some kind of growth, you need to have some strategy in place where you can generate money and be self-sustaining. So you're not dependent on a donor, you're not dependent on your friends and families. Initially you start like that, but over the period of time, you have to have that growth and you have to have revenue in such a way that you are self-sustaining. Of course, success. What is success for social business? Can anybody define? What is success for social business? On a personal level, yes, gratification. But otherwise, suppose if I am running a campaign where I'm supplying food, to poor people. So, in that case, what happens to my success? What is my success?
Measurable data.
Absolutely. How many hungry people I have fed? How many hungry people I have fed? That's my success ratio. Today I've fed 100 people. Tomorrow 200 people. Day after tomorrow 500 people. So that's the success ratio. Depending on what product, depending on what service you're providing to the society, your success ratio depends. Totally different. And what is success for a normal business? It's the profit, the margin that you're making, correct? But here, it's not the driving factor. Okay. Risk, of course. Who says social business doesn't have any risk? Then there are so many. If you don't perform, if you don't feed, those 100 people, 200 people, what's the point of running a social enterprise? Media will talk bad about you. You will not get enough donors to support you because you took money from the donors saying that okay, I'm going to feed 200 people, but at the end of the day, you only fed 50 people. So what happened? So there are a lot of things, a lot of challenges. So risk is involved in social business also. If I am doing a charity, doesn't mean that I'm not exposed to risk. So like a normal business, this business also has that element. Of course, investors, we need investors in this terminology, in this social business. We don't actually invite investors who's looking to make 10 times of his investment. We look at people. For him also, his return on investment has a different measurable strategy. Again, it's in the term of how many people have you fed? Okay, you said you're going to feed 100 people and today you've just fed 110 people. So your, return on, it's called social return on investment. That's how you number. Okay? So, of course, so these kind of investors are impact investors. So they look at social return on investment. Measurable result, like he said, it has to be in terms of number, whatever services. I'm going to discuss 2 examples so you will get the clarity of the terms that we are discussing. Okay, very wonderful examples I have. Of course, cash flow, So, the normal business and social business, the elements, the business model, the revenue model, is the same. The difference is the objective, the product, the services, the measurable parameters that you use. That's the only difference. Okay? And attends to the much neglected growth area, the 3 areas that Manoj mentioned. So as I discussed, so the difference is in the objectives, differences in the success, rate of return, which is in the social business is called social rate of return, SROI. That's a new term, right? Yeah, so you'll hear more of it. There's something very interesting also coming up. Today we are calling social entrepreneurship. There's one more terminology that's coming. It's going to catch up very soon. It's called transformational entrepreneur. So what do you do in that? You're creating a movement. You're actually transforming somebody's thought pattern. You're actually transforming somebody's attitude, nature. And trust me, India needs that. India really needs that. An entrepreneur and a person who does that will become a transformational entrepreneur. So there are a lot of new ways of addressing new people are coming. So think about a good cause, think about a good opportunity and do it. But one of the most motivating factor in a social business is, you have to experience it yourself. You cannot become a social entrepreneur just because somebody else is success in his own field. So you have to have that inner feeling to give to the society, and probably something will happen. Usually, whichever people I've met, some mischief has happened in their life. So it's not necessarily some mischief has to happen in your life and then you get rather motivated, okay, because somebody died of cancer in my house, so I want to start Cancer Institute. Usually you must have heard about these kind of stories. So yeah, that is one of the factor. But then you have to also feel from within that only mischief should not motivate you. You have to also feel from within. Yes, I want to do something for the society. So just a little bit on impact investing. So basically in our business, in social business, but I was very happy, in the break when I was talking to Mr. Joshi and Atul, from Key Capital, Naveen. So I would, in a normal scenario, never go to those funds for social businesses. But in the break when I was talking to them, I said, if you're going to look at 10 times return on your investment, I don't think so you're going to motivate any social business. No, Sheetal, it's not that. We are actually open for such ideas. And the motivating factor to invest in such social businesses to bring about a change in the society. So it's not that the funds are also changing their thought patterns now, So it was very nice to know. So probably I can, recommend some other social businesses that's looking for funding. So social business, ऐसा नहीं है कि सब कुछ बेच बाज के आपको social business करना है. Giving doesn't mean you sell off things and give. Okay, giving has a very broader meaning, very very emotional meaning. It means a lot. It means much beyond than giving some material things or whatever. You can give your time, you can give your effort, some talent, creativity that you have. So the whole scenario of social service, scenario of social business is completely changing in today's time. Look at the money that's there, 22,000 crores. Everybody knows about this new law which is come?
Yes.
Yeah? So every corporate that makes profit has to mandatorily spend 2% of the profit into some charitable cause. So there's a huge money which is also lying with the corporates, and they can actually fund. And today, last few weeks, I'm experiencing whenever I used to go to some big corporates, like, can you fund this project, can you fund that project? Nobody used to, I will get back to you, send us a proposal and blah blah blah. So I stopped calling, okay? I stopped calling, but today I have a couple of companies who are calling me and saying, you know what, Sheetal, we do not have a team to execute the project, and I see that you have a team to execute the project, we have the funds. So can you design something for us? Can you do some projects for us? Where we would like to fund, if we would like to involve our employees, So now they are also opening up. Earlier CSR was just spending. Okay, now CSR's thought process is also changing. They want their employees also to get into the act of giving. So it's a wonderful space to be today, where you have the money, you have the open attitude that yes, I want to spend on this social causes. The kind of opportunities that's there in India, it's unbelievable. I have been to so many schools. We talk about social entrepreneurship. I always speak in the end. I don't know why they put me in the end. But it's a good place to be because I get to hear everything, and then I get to know what are the thought process of the students. So everybody has ideas of e-commerce. Everybody has idea of technology, restaurant, food, manufacturing, engineer. Out of 150 students that is attending that particular lecture, 1 or 2 students come up with some social ideas. Okay, and that also not innovative social ideas, very very general social idea. But the kind of opportunities. I am purposely not calling it a problem. These are the problem areas in India: malnutrition, sanitation, shelter for homeless, education, water, healthcare, cancer, suicide, poverty. So many, you name it, you have it. But what are we doing about it? I think everybody has to think now. So think about a good business plan, innovative plan, and come up with a good business model. Make a good proposal, go to some good corporate who can fund you, start on your own, and you see the change you're actually going to bring a movement in the society. That's what impact is all about. Why we call it an impact business, why we call it an impact entrepreneur, impact investor, because you're creating, by merely your being there, what is the difference you are bringing to the society. That's why the movement, that's why it's called impact. You're creating an impact in somebody else's life, in the society, in the business. Imagine what you do. You may earn much less than what other people are earning, but the kind of success that you will feel, the kind of achievement that you will feel, will have no comparison to what other businesses will give you. Why I said demonstrated stories, because it is actually not easy to be a social entrepreneur or to do a social business, trust me. I may be wrong, but it is definitely easy to do the other business where the motivating factor is money. You know how to motivate. Everybody gets motivated when you talk about money, right? So it's easy to attract investors also. You give them a good business plan, good scalability, revenue, blah blah things and all. So you'll say, okay, great, good idea, good team, good revenue projection. So okay, I'm interested, because all he thinks about is this is what I'm going to get in return. That's the money. But when you talk about social business, when you take the concept and go to your uncle also. Like my family has completely rejected me. Nobody gave me 1 rupee to start. In fact, they said that we don't want any of your children, I mean talking about NG children, to even come home. You are mad. Okay? We do not like your business. Today, of course, they appreciate what I'm doing, but that appreciation doesn't make any sense to me today. I wanted that love, affection, acceptability at that point in time when I decided that, listen, I'm going to quit my job, I'm taking a break, and this is what I feel like doing. And I really felt like doing from inside, but nobody supported me. But I'm very blessed, and I'm proud of myself that I never gave up. There were times when I also thought like, nobody's going to support you. So you need to demonstrate. You need to create some track record. You need to execute a couple of projects, and then probably somebody will come and say, you know what, okay. So it has to be a demonstrated story. So don't think it's easy. I'm going to have a good idea of waste management and this and that, and I'm going to go to an investor, go to my uncle, auntie, or angel father, angel mother, whatever, and they're going to give me the money. Here, take social business. Okay, great. No, it's not easy. They're going to obviously want to see some results before you start. So I have 2 very beautiful stories. I don't know how many people have heard about Professor Muhammad Yunus. How many people have heard about him? I think he's such a wonderful guy, and he's the one who actually revolutionized the social entrepreneurship. He was a social entrepreneur 40 years back. He's the one who pioneered this microfinance and microcredit. And I have read so much about him. He was rejected outright from everywhere. He went to the urban banks and he said, can you come to the rural area and give some microcredit? Because everybody wants to do something, but the only thing that they don't have is money. Can you come? So the urban banks actually said no to him. I said no. They said no because they don't have credibility and we don't get enough return. It's not worth it to go to a rural area and go. So he collected money. He started. He called it a Grameen bank, and he started this microfinancing and micro credit, and they were flourishing. They were doing very well. At the same time, this is I think about 2008 or 2009, and the same urban bank completely collapsed. So the question that he asked them, like, so who do you think is more creditworthy? The richest, the people who have money, or people who don't have the money? So you see the whole thing, how you look at it, And that's the time urban bank, now actually they're a little more open about going to villages, going to rural areas to support these small Grameen banks, But in social business, scalability is like a huge market. You can actually go international also. You can do joint ventures, you can do partnerships, you can do a whole lot of things. ऐसा नहीं है कि if you start a social business in the area of Mulund, you're just going to be a Mulund social entrepreneur. No, you can actually scale to different areas, and scalability for the organization for a social business doesn't mean only in terms of increasing the number of people. You can actually bring in the products and services, make it reach to larger audience. Okay, so one of the major issue that Bangladesh was having was 50% of the children were having they were suffering from malnutrition. Okay, 50% of the children. And Mr. Mohammed Yunus, he was in some conference and he met the name of the company is Danone Foods, who's into manufacturing yogurts and all. So he said, why don't we do a joint venture? So the Grameen and Danone Food, they actually had a joint venture, but the objective was very, very clear that the objective of this joint venture is not to make money, but to bring those malnourished children out of the malnourishment. So they become little, they gain health and they become okay. So they started manufacturing. What was the product? So they manufactured yogurt, and in the yogurt they started putting all the nutrients that is required for the growth of the normal child. And they made it so cheap. It was not that they distributed it free of cost. They actually priced it in such a way that even a poor child can buy, you know. So if that child eats that 2 cups of yogurt for in a week for a period of 7 to 8 months, he can actually come out of malnourishment, you know. So this was a major movement that happened, you know, and it was a beautiful demonstrated example, and today they've achieved quite a large success there, you know. So that's one of my favorite example which I always talk about. This is an international example, Bangladesh. So he was an economist and he was doing well. So okay, let me come to our Indian example, which came from Pune. How many people have heard about Rajiv Kher? Nobody? You know, Rajiv Kher is from Pune. He did his MBA from Symbiosis. He went to US for an internship. He came back to Pune for some family function or whatever. You must have heard about him, right? Yeah. So he saw that in India, 1,000 children die due to lack of proper hygiene sanitation. That's a huge number. That kind of moved him. And he saw that in US, there were people who were using portable toilets, you know. So he started importing those imported toilets and started putting in some slum areas, construction workers areas, you know. He even went to a bank saying that, you know, I want to do this business in India, so can you fund me? So the bank actually laughed at him and said, like, you know, are you going to sell toilets? You know, this is what your business is? You know, you think I'm going to fund you for your portable toilets? You know. So he actually borrowed money from one of his German friends and he started that. And today he's doing a good turnover. It's about 10 crores. You know. He started, I think, in 1999 or 2000. You know. So you know, the product is there, the market is there, the problem is there. You can actually do it, you can scale it, you can make money, you can actually make a huge difference. Now the difference, Rajiv Kher actually says that, you know, I could have made much more money if I had continued my job. At the end of the day, the kind of satisfaction I get that I've saved so many number of children, I think that has larger success value. You know, so this is the thing about social business. So as every entrepreneur thinks that every problem there is an opportunity. So right from the time after you finish this session, when you go out, you probably see that, you know, there's so many problems happening. Start thinking about, oh, there is a problem, so that means there is an opportunity for me to do a business. And trust me, from tomorrow you'll find a lot of problems, even on the streets, while traveling by a local train, cabs, wherever you go, you'll find a lot of problems. So try and become innovative. Try thinking from that angle, you know. And you never know, tomorrow you may just, change the whole world. You know, you may just create a movement. Look at Professor Mohammed Yunus did. Look at what Rajiv Kher did. Today he comes, he's on a panel of some environmental board. They go for all these. By the way, Professor Mohammed Yunus has won a Nobel Peace Prize also for his innovative thinking, global thinking. What a great thinker he is, you know. So the success is there, you know. Patience, perseverance, your determination, focus. Of course, you have to be emotionally strong also. A lot of time people will say a lot of things to you. You will question your integrity, you know. In this social business, a lot of people question your integrity, which is very hurting at times, you know. You may just want to sit in one corner and cry, like, why, you know. So there are times when you feel really hurt, and people hurt, not with the intention of hurting you, but they say something which you don't like, and you feel hurt. So you have to be really emotionally strong also. I think it goes same for the other business also. You have to be emotionally strong. But in my social business, I've particularly seen that I used to be a very emotionally weak person, but over the period of time, today it doesn't matter to me what people do, because I know from my heart what I'm doing, So it's so important to be emotionally strong. I'm gonna just, I will take the question now. Nobody's asking me any questions, so we'll keep it for the time being. But I want to play a small corporate film of mine. It's a short 2-minute film. The volume is there, right?
Innocent Heroes
This is my foundation.
is a non-profit making organization committed towards creating a deeper positive impact in the overall development of underprivileged children. Headed by Sheetal Kharka, one of India's leading women entrepreneurs, the organization works with hundreds of NGOs around India to nurture talents of underprivileged children and develop their personalities to help them face the world with confidence, just like any other child.
I always had a fascination towards these underprivileged children. So to complete my passion, I used to visit a couple of these city NGOs. So I thought, what can I do for these children? So I started teaching them a little bit of dance, and so when I was teaching them Kathak, I realized that these children are so talented. So that's when the idea came into my mind that why not focus on the extracurricular activities of these children.
In order to achieve their objectives, Innocent Heroes Foundation conducts events and activities aimed at enhancing holistic development of underprivileged children.
We have been associated with Innocent Heroes Foundation for quite a long time. And 5 girls were taken to Manali, and that was the greatest experience they ever had. Because they went to a place which they could not even imagine in their dreams.
It was actually an amazing experience working with these kids, because we taught 3-4 crafts to them, and we got a very great results.
Just a couple of months ago, Innocent Heroes have organized a cricket tournament competition with the normal children and this kind of a hearing challenge children. And the result was so encouraging. The boys were very excited, all of them, because first year when the tournament got over, everybody was asking me, the next day when I will have this tournament, you should have it earlier, or you should have it, even you should have it twice a year or twice a year. They started asking me all these things, so it was immense.
Oh, it was fantastic. I really liked it. It's a great idea. I really like these children. They danced. बहुत अच्छा नाचा, बहुत अच्छा काम किया.
Innocent Heroes Foundation is also teaching some of these children practical art forms like Kathak dancing and supporting some to further their education. Let us join and support Innocent Heroes, and together we can open doors for a better tomorrow of these underprivileged children.